Hey, Seattle hockey fans, did you miss me? I know it's been a while, but I'm back. It is a Wednesday. It is game day eve, but a lot has happened since we last spoke, including we're riding another win streak, but we've got a big one coming up against Boston. And guess who will be there? That's right, yours truly. And might have a special interview or two set up from Beantown. Let's talk about the last two wins and get ready for game day tomorrow on this episode of Locked On Kraken.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are the Seattle Kraken.
Hey, what do you say, Seattle hockey fans? Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Locked On Kraken. I am your host, Erica L. Ayala. You may know me from I've written for the Seattle Kraken back before they had a name. I've also written in the New York Times, for Bleacher Report, Sports Illustrated, and a lot of other places, and still am a writer at Forbes. And so I also was able to travel to Beijing, China to cover Maddie Beniers and Sarah Nurse. Those were my two main assignments at the 2022 Winter Olympics. USA didn't quite make it to the medal round, but Sarah Nurse became the first Black woman to win gold as a part of Hockey Canada. So that was amazing to see. Anyway, we're going to talk some international hockey a little bit later on the show, but let's talk about these last two wins, all on the road. And for those who follow Locked On Kraken on social media, I'm telling you, ever since I saged my jersey, I am a sage auntie, the Seattle Kraken have won. The last time that the team lost was against Edmonton, right before the new year. And that was actually the last time Philip Grubauer started a game. But he got the start last night and got the win. It was a 4-3 win. It wasn't the prettiest of wins against a Buffalo squad that can be pretty potent in some areas. If you were able to watch the pregame show or even see some of Allison Lucan's work over on the Seattle Kraken website, then you know there was a lot of focus on how much cycling and puck retrieval Buffalo is capable of. And we really saw that early on. Wasn't the greatest of games, like I said, but the Seattle Kraken found a way to win. Speaking of Allison Lucan, we are going to get to some of her notes. And of course, this is over at Seattle's website. This one is called Sword Fight. Third period push gives Seattle a 4-3 win. Kraken remain perfect against Buffalo and extend win streak to 6 games. Now, sadly, at least in my estimation, there was no massive toe pick in this game. There was no empty netter, almost an empty netter, but there was no empty netter in this game, no toe pick. If you know, you know. But the Seattle Kraken did get the win. Now, here are some things that you need to know. Philip Grubauer is now 8-1-2 against the Buffalo Sabres and extends his win streak against them to 6. And this is Dave Haxtell speaking after the game, this is Philip Grubauer speaking after the game. I think the first period was a little rusty, but after that, I found the game and was good from that. You also, and you can check out over at Locked On Kraken on our YouTube page, I have this video up, but he also says, yeah, it's been almost 2 weeks since I started. And the last time he started, it wasn't great. I do want to address this. I've addressed it a few times on the show. Philip Grubauer, I'm not a part of the card-carrying membership club for Philip Grubauer. There are also some really, in my opinion, silly nicknames going around with regard to Philip Grubauer fans, but to each their own. I don't like some of the more negative nicknames that people give to Philip Grubauer. And if you look at the numbers, which of course can be skewed in a multitude of ways. I mean, you know how I feel about how people talk about our defense. I'm like, our defense isn't really all that great, and I don't know where you're coming up with these arbitrary numbers from. Anyway, I would like to see us as a collective fan base kind of leave some of that behind. I don't understand it completely why the team tends to play better in front of literally any other goaltender but Philip Grubauer. Last year, I talked a lot about how he just never looked comfortable. And you know what? When you're a little bit anxious or you don't have complete faith and trust in your team, sometimes that carries over. I'm not saying that that is the problem. I'm also not saying it isn't the problem. But there's a difference in the demeanor with Philip Grubauer at times. And is that vibes? Am I going off of vibes? Yeah, because the numbers are very slim, people. But the point is, and this is what I'll say, Philip Grubauer had a great game for us last night. He has had great performances for us this year, and even some last year. We are not a defensively sound team with consistency. And why those numbers tend to rain down on Philip Grubauer more than in this case this year, Martin Jones, I couldn't tell you. I can only tell you what I see. I see a lot of vibey things. Only the players in the locker room can tell you. Only Philip Grubauer maybe can tell you. But I do think we need to just turn the volume down a little bit. I also do think we need to turn the volume up on figuring out what this means long term for us, whether we make the playoffs or not, whether we make a deep run into the playoffs or not. I think probably likely not. If it's going to continue to be this back and forth, and I don't know that we are guaranteed to have Martin Jones next year. I don't, someone has to figure out the math for me to figure out how we keep Martin Jones and get Drieger back healthy and keep Joey Decord. And of course, Philip Grubauer. Anyway, I just came to say, let's turn down the volume a little bit, folks. Yeah, there's some things, even Nick Olchek said it yesterday, could have had that save. Dave Haxtell said that about all of our goaltenders at one point. You got to have that save. He probably would have liked to have that one back. That's hockey, baby. But I've said this before. Let's settle into, I think it's Martin Jones on a day-to-day basis for us, with the exception of when we have splits that are obviously in his favor, and or when we need to give the guy a rest. He has to rest, people. Anyway, tone it down a little bit. I can't tell you what to do. I would like to see the fan base tone it down a little bit when it comes to Philip Grubauer. Anyway, moving on to the team. They gave Philip Grubauer goal support. The Kraken scored at least 4 goals in 4 straight games, making this a franchise record. So they were giving that support to Martin Jones, and it now has carried over to Philip Grubauer. What is that teaching me? What is that telling me? That we're starting to build consistency. But what I like is that now the team is finding ways to build that consistency regardless who's behind them. And that's exactly how we need to play. Is it understandable from a human nature perspective that hasn't been what's happened? Yes. Is it acceptable? No, it's really not. Is it anyone's fault? I don't know. If I'm being honest, I don't know. What I do know is, let's tone it down a little. Philip Grubauer is our goalie. He's ours, all right? He's on our roster. So act accordingly. Anyway, this is what Jordan Eberle had to say about yesterday's game. We had our ups and downs. We obviously started a little bit slow. That's for sure. They gave up a goal early, but then they were able to come back. And come back, kids. Mwah. Loved this. Back and forth game, kept it tight, stayed the course. They held fast and they stayed true. The second period was much of the same. He's saying that we found a way to come back in the first, found a way to come back in the second. We started well in the third, obviously, and then we held on. The Sabres played well and they created lots. but Gruby was excellent tonight. He made some huge saves and kept us ahead. So, a lot of people after the game have been asking about special teams, the PK in particular. Now, we did give up a power play goal, but 3 of 4 on the PK. And another thing is that you saw that the Seattle Kraken were creating opportunities for themselves as well. The passing has been clinical for both games. We're not going to go over like tick for tack the Montreal game as much because it happened the other day. You'll hear from some guys coming up next on Locked on Kraken, but it was just it was fun to watch this team. It wasn't perfect. Oh man, on the broadcast, they were like, another one, another one. So many icings, both teams on the second game of a back-to-back. Not the greatest cadence, not the greatest pace, but we still found a way to win. Did give up a goal because at one point we were up 4-2. Then Buffalo made it interesting late in the game. Didn't love that. Didn't love that. But you know what? You found a way to win, and that's what we need, and that's what's giving me hope and promise for the future for sure, but even down the course of this season. I love this Yanni Gourde to Schultz, screaming at him to give him the puck. He didn't see me for a second. I was screaming at Schultz to let him know I was there. He made a great play, and I was able to put it behind the goaltender. And this is just fantastic. Yanni Gourde assisted by Justin Schultz. Justin Schultz has been fantastic. He also on this road trip in the last 2 games found just a great little one-timer. I think it was in this game actually. And was this the feed that he got off of was it this game or the Montreal game where he got that feed from was it Matty Beniers? Either way, like Schultz has been great. Matty Beniers has been fantastic. He had a grindy goal in this one against Buffalo. Just really like it. Overall, game score showed that Yanni Gourde had the best game for Seattle at a 3.26. The Kraken had 7 rush chances. And that's something that we talked about earlier or alluded to. Buffalo averages 6.9 rush chances per game. They were kept down to just 5 scoring chances on the rush. Other things, was it a quality start? Neither goaltender got a quality start. Neither goaltender got a steal per the data from Sports Logic. But it was what we needed from Philip Grubauer. All right. So let's calm the Jets a little bit. Coming up next on Locked on Kraken, like I said, we're going to go over that Montreal game just a little bit, but I want you to hear from some of the players in particular. We heard from Dave Haxel, him saying that he just likes coaching this group. And I think that speaks volumes because remember, we had that quote of him essentially questioning this team. Do they have what it takes to essentially level up Sierra style? Do they have what it takes to level up? And I think they're starting to answer that. That's coming up on Locked on Kraken. We'll get more into it. Right now, let me tell you, this episode of Locked on Kraken is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has all the props, all the odds for everything that you need when it comes to sports wagering, and that's on betonline.net. Of course, we want to make sure that you're using all this information at your fingertips responsibly, but you can find NFL, NBA, we had World Cup, we have, of course, NHL, including futures odds. Matty Beniers is still a Calder candidate, and we love to see it. All of that you can find on BetOnline using your laptop, your desktop, your mobile device, whatever you got. And I have been stranded in transit for the last 2 days, and I can tell you, I used a little bit of all of those things to keep up with BetOnline because if you love sports podcasts, which of course you do, because you listen to Locked on Kraken and make it a part of your daily routine, then you can find those sports podcasts on BetOnline. BetOnline is where the game starts. All right, folks. Sword Fight was the final buzzer title for yesterday's game. Winning Habit Heck yeah, we love a winning habit. In Montreal, Quebec, um, I love this. As head coach Dave Haxtell spoke with the assembled media in Montreal after the morning skate, he smiled. First of all, Dave Haxtell smiled. Doesn't happen very often, but he smiled. He was a little bit what's the word? Short. He was short. Wasn't really enjoying morning skate before Buffalo, but they got the win. So who am I to judge? Anyway, he smiled when asked if it was difficult to coach a team like the Kraken with so much depth. Quote, "This is an awesome team to coach." Yeah, this is an awesome team to watch, Dave. So I can only imagine that it's an awesome team to coach. Difficult at times, I'm sure, including that Morgan Geeky and Ryan Donato, really caused by Ellie Tolvanen, are giving him fits on trying to figure out how to get them in the rotation. And he alluded to that, I guess it was at that short morning skate before Buffalo. Geeky would be in, Donato out. They're essentially alternating, but he likes what Ellie Tolvanen is giving. So we're going to go with Ellie Tolvanen. And you know what? I completely understand that. Makes all the sense in the world. You go with the hot hands, and Tolvanen has been proving himself. Of course, you know I am gutted anytime Ryan Donato is not in the lineup, but c'est la vie. As long as they're stepping up, they keep giving themselves an opportunity to get that chance. Now, if someone doesn't step up and another guy does, and then Bob's your uncle, right? There goes that chance. But we'll see. But you know, he says it's a great team to coach, and I know I have my favorites. We all do. I know. But when you take it too far, I've been more critical of Morgan Geeky, and then he proved me wrong. So I had to dial it back. All right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. You have a bad take, say so, because you know what's better and more important is the team success. Put your ego to the side. Speaking of putting ego to the side, Matty Beniers. This kid, there's so much that I like about Matty Beniers. Hardworking guy. And I mean this in the true sense. You know, people say hardworking, but what does that really mean? Matty Beniers is the kind of hardworking, and I feel like I think we talked about this. I can't honestly. It's been such a mush of a last 3 days or like week. I don't know, but whether it was Montreal or not, no, it was Ottawa in the Ottawa game. So I did talk about this on the podcast in Ottawa, and this has happened before. I've talked about it earlier on the podcast. He's starting to get targeted. You know, older, more veteran guys trying to put a big hit on him. Big hits are part of the game. Do I think they are essentially dirty hits? Not necessarily, not all of them, but they're definitely intentional message setting type hits. Matty Beniers, every time he's gotten hit, no matter how hard, no matter where on the ice, he snaps right back up. And then in the Ottawa game, he snapped right back up. And then he does his little, you know, he's got his little goal celly. Piper Shaw has I guess it's Inside Kraken Hockey where they're talking about goal cellies. My service kept dodging in and out. So I don't know actually if she talked to Matty Beniers for that, but he's got like this little celebration that he does. Anyway, and I love it because it's like he's letting out that energy, but he's not directing it at anyone. Not like Uri Slavkovsky, although I kind of did love that. I just love the audacity to kind of yell in an older guy's face after he tries to mush you to the ground and then you score a goal. I freaking love it. I love it either way. But Matty doesn't give off that kind of energy. He's going to be excited about his accomplishments, what his team is doing. And if you ask him, maybe he'll tell you, yeah, he got a little riled up. He got a little pissed off. And he uses that as fuel, but he uses it in a positive way. You wouldn't have known he was pissed off after that hit if it hadn't been for him scoring that goal. These are the kinds of things, the bounce back that Matty Beniers does so well, and that the overall bounce back of the Seattle Kraken team, how can they not be fun to coach? Dave Haxlin, I hope to ask him about this. He kind of alluded to this, but I want to ask him about this when I'm in Boston. He issued a challenge. I don't know if my team is ready to do the work that is required of them. Not that they don't have the capability, not that they don't know what to do, not that they don't want to move further, but there's a difference between saying you want to be somewhere where you're not at the moment, at the present moment, and then going after it and doing the work. And after Dave Haxtell said that, I believe, in my estimation, that his team has shown him who they are. What was it? The Golden Globes, right? Angela Bassett just won whatever that statue is called. Anyway, Black Panther. Look it up. I love that bounce back. Ellie Tolvanen stepping up. Morgan Geekie, Ryan Donato, whether they're in or out of the lineup, stepping up. Brandon Tanev has, had a really wild and crazy season, but he finds ways to bring energy. Yanni Gourde bringing energy. It's just fantastic. Vince Dunn has looked great. He's scoring. Talked about Schultz and how he's contributing. Bjorkstrand is getting a lot of crap, especially from national media. But this guy is playing. He's playing. He's doing the things that give us the capability to win the puck back. Maybe not in the sequence that he's doing it, but he's wearing guys down. He's trying to find seams. He's trying to connect on passes. And after a while, other teams are starting to notice how he operates within a game. And so you have to respect what he's putting out there. He makes other teams second guess because he's doing so many different things to create opportunities. They don't always lead to goals for him. But it's my estimation that if you were to kind of give out hockey assists, so to speak, for effort, Bjorkstrand would have a lot of them. He's solid. I like this acquisition for us. And don't you fret. When he gets going, it's game over. It's game over. Anyway, the Seattle Kraken have been fantastic, but don't take my word for it. Let's hear from Jordan Eberle. This is him talking after the Buffalo game. And speaking of Matty Beniers, if you listen closely, you might be able to hear Matty Beniers towards the back end of Eberle's media availability post-game after the 4-3 win over Buffalo.
I thought we had our ups and downs. We obviously started a little bit slow, I thought. Found a way to come back in the first. And the second period was much the same. So we started well in the third, obviously, and then just kind of held on. I wouldn't say it was our best, but, I give them credit. They played well, and they created lots. Gruby was excellent tonight, I think. He made some huge saves and kept us ahead. Yeah, our PK has been a lot better. We've started to win the special teams, and not just the PK but the power play too. We've started to hang in there. There's nights where we were getting outworked on both power play and penalty kill, and that was losing us games. So yeah, I think that's been a big piece of why we're starting to win again.
You have the assist too on Schultz's goal. You get the puck to Matty behind the net. I know you like to play back there. Is that something you've talked to him about as well?
Not really. No. He's a smart enough player. I just try and find him. He made a great play to call to me, and I knew he was back there, so I just tried to get it by the D. So he's obviously a hell of a player. So we'll end with that.
How do you not love Matty Beniers? He's like, I love you. He's so endearing. He's so endearing. He's a great storyline. Whether he wins Calder or not, my mind's made up. This kid is good for us. Ellie Tolvanen has also been fantastic. Let's take you to the locker room. This is him talking after the win in Montreal.
Between you and Vince Dunn right now?
I don't know. It just seems like he's gonna find me in a good spot, and we were talking a lot. Just shooting the puck, open, and it's been lucky to just go in.
He said he tells you to shoot the puck all the time. How much is he telling you that? Was it good to see him get a goal as well?
Yeah, it's of course it's nice. I mean, my goal is kind of like tap in, and you can't miss that. But it's nice to see him. He's playing really well. He's been going every game lately, and he's a big part of our decor. Yeah, we were talking that everybody has to be ready when the puck drops, and I felt like we played really fast from the beginning. We got in forecheck, and these were active as well. So I think that's a big thing we have to keep building, and do it again tomorrow.
What were you proud of defensively tonight?
I think we didn't give them that many opportunities. we didn't take that many penalties. We didn't give them a power play, and their top guys, they didn't get in the score sheet. So that's always nice. And then Jonesy playing a really nice game.
Thank you.
Our guys are locked in. Our guys are absolutely locked in. But what does this mean for Shane Wright? Well, we know that Shane Wright is going to be in the OHL. What you might not know is what team he's playing for. So let's get into it. Big trade deadline in juniors. Let's talk about it coming up next, as well as some talk about the U18 World Juniors. That's what's coming up on Locked On Kraken. Hey, thank you as always for making Locked On Kraken a part of your daily routine. Coming to you a little bit later today. I've mentioned it before and on social media. I've had some travel delays. Thankfully, I did not get delayed today, Wednesday, because there were a whole nother set of delays that happened, and the FAA and I don't know. So if you're traveling or someone that you know is traveling, please stay safe, sending good vibes, good auntie vibes to everyone. But okay, Shane Wright, we talked about it. I did a quick hit on social media, but he went down to Kingston. He was reassigned to Kingston, so no more AHL. We know that's up. No more NHL for this season. Then he got traded. As widely expected, Kraken prospect Shane Wright has been traded from his longtime Ontario Hockey League Kingston Frontenac's junior club to the OHL Windsor Spitfires. The trade moves Wright to a Spitfires squad that is second overall in the OHL in the Western Conference with a 23-9 3-1 record, while Kingston is in sixth place with a 17-17 1-1 mark. And as the article says, yes, this is not surprising. What was a little bit surprising, at least to me, was what the Spitfires gave up. Kingston received a major haul in exchange for Kraken's Wright. The package included a forward, a defenseman, and 7 draft picks. What? Someone asked me, like, is this a good deal? Like, what's going on here? Honestly, I have no idea. Except that the Spitfires really want to win in the OHL this year. I think that's a guarantee. Someone asked, are they kind of hedging their bets that he'll stay around? I really hope not. That being said, it's an interesting question because, as we know, Morgan Geekie and Ryan Donato right now are interchangeable, and Dave Haxtell's kind of going on again, off again, because he doesn't want to not play either guy. Not quite the same situation that we are having in the goaltending situation. It could be because, again, Philip Grubauer, I thought, had a good game last night. Not a quality start per sports logic, but a good game for Seattle. Are they hedging their bets that he's going to stay around for a while? Even if Shane Wright doesn't go to the Seattle Kraken, which I think is very possible, mind you, next season, why would we keep him in the OHL if we can have him in the AHL? Number one team in the AHL, the Coachella Valley Firebirds. And in case you missed it, drop some news. Jason Hernandez from the Locked On community is the new PA announcer for the Coachella Valley Firebirds. We teased his announcement. He broke the news on our show, Locked On Kraken. And on Friday, for Firebirds Fridays, I will have him back. You'll learn a little bit more about JD, or Jason, as I like to say. You, if you're a longtime listener / viewer, you should know Jason. It's exciting. Anyway, I digress because that's what I do. I honestly have no idea. I don't have enough of a finger of the pulse on the OHL right now, but you know who might is our friend Hattie Kalakash. So you should make sure that you are listening to Locked On NHL Prospects. And I told you after World Juniors, we're going to have Hattie back on the show. And so we're going to make that happen. Just I got to get through this road trip. It's an exciting one, including that tomorrow I get to watch the Seattle Kraken at morning skate and play at TD Garden, where Willie O'Ree's jersey is retired into the rafters. I was there for that. ceremony. It's going to be exciting. I'm so excited to catch the Seattle Kraken live again. I have still not seen a live regular season game at Climate Pledge Arena. I catch them on the road, but this is going to be a good one. I'm very excited. And then the next day, I will be calling a game for Hockey East. I have a women's game this week, and then I have some men's games later in the year for Hockey East, and I will be your play-by-play voice for those games on Nesson. That's why I'm traveling a lot, but for good, it's all good things. But the plan is that I will catch up with JT Brown at some point, so you'll have to stay tuned for that. We've got a lot coming, and of course I'll give you the post-game recaps, and you'll get I'll be in the media scrums and all of that, so it's going to be exciting. But yeah, I don't know, are they hedging their bets that he'll stick around for a little bit? I hope not for the Spitfires. I mean, I guess they just want to. The only guess I have is that they really want to win now. They're in second place, and they want to damn near guarantee the cup. So they go get Shane Wright. They were in second place without him. Like, what can they do with him? Go all out. He's been in the AHL, played in the NHL, won a gold medal at World Juniors. What can this guy not do? So we'll see. We'll keep you up to date with that saga. Speaking of international competition, we are through the preliminary rounds for the World Juniors, for the U18 Women's World Championships. The Canadian squad went undefeated. They beat the United States today. They beat the United States 3-1. So we have some games here that are upcoming. We're still waiting on all of the final seeding, but Canada looking pretty good. Of course, they are your reigning gold medalists, so they're looking to make good and go back to back. But make sure you're following Women's Pro Hockey Seattle. They've been keeping up to date with all of the scores, not just the US and Canada scores. Just in case you didn't know, someone from our very own Seattle Kraken is at this tournament, the U18 Women's World Championship, and that is Caitlin Parker. Caitlin Parker is the player development coach for the Kraken Youth Hockey Association, and she is with Team USA as a scout. So she's got all the eyes on the U18 Women's World Championship happening now. Sweden is hosting. And I just love this. She herself has been able to just really grow the sport in the area and feels that this is the next progression. Quote, I've been part of the USA Hockey family doing various national camps and different things with them since I started coaching college. And just a note, she played 4 years at Colgate, then served as an assistant coach, 2 seasons at Brown, and then 3 with UConn. I'm familiar in terms of with just what that preparation process looks like for national teams. I've always wanted to be on a national team staff, learning all the ropes, and now she is. You know who else is on that team? Olympic gold medalist Brianna Decker, who also is an advisor for the Premier Hockey Federation. So this is going to be amazing. Her primary role is scouting and looking to get the team prepared as much as possible for the tournament games. Of course, the USA is striving to get back to the gold medal game. They want to win the gold medal game, but there are challenges that come along with it, says Parker. You're coaching under 18-year-olds. Every day is like a new adventure. Wasn't that us last year? Teenagers. So I'm glad Dave Haxel, you see how it's coming all full circle? I'm glad Dave Haxel is enjoying his seasoned teenagers, early to mid 20-year-olds this year. We're doing better, and I love it. But Caitlin Parker and Team USA, I'll be keeping you up to date with the U18 Women's World Championships. And then come the spring, hopefully I'll be in Canada covering the women's tournament. Brampton is the host. That's going to do it for our show. I am soldiering on. It's probably not the prettiest podcast you've seen, but just like the Seattle Kraken got the 4-3 win against Buffalo, we made it through this show. We talked about some things, including Shane Wright, of course, Caitlin Parker, and, again, let's have some grace when it comes to Philip Grubauer, all right? We're winning games. Let's have some grace. We tomorrow will talk about the Boston team that will be pre-recorded before morning skate because I will be at morning skate. So make sure, if you're not already, that you are following Locked on Kraken, especially on Twitter. I'm usually pretty good at posting some of my short video recaps on Instagram. We've got Facebook and, of course, YouTube Shorts as well. That's going to be the way to catch up with me. I told you I'm trying to catch JT Brown. I'll let you know a little bit more about that interview first when we get it, but then once it's ready to air. So I'm going to be with the Kraken crew. If you have questions, if there are things that you want to ask me while I'm on the road, I hit the road bright and early and I'm shipping up to Boston, but make sure you engage with me at Locked on Kraken. You can also find me personally at elindsay08. That's ELINDSAY08. It's going to be a good time. I'm so excited to see this Seattle Kraken team in action, and it's a big one. Boston. The NHL just released some numbers. They sent it. I got it in my email today. And it's like all these milestones at the halfway mark. Yeah, Boston's hitting a lot of milestones. But we're going to talk about that on tomorrow's episode of Locked on Kraken. Until then, hold fast, stay true, get some rest, get some sleep, because tomorrow is a game day, baby. Make sure you send me your questions and follow along on my journey to Beantown to watch our very own Seattle Kraken. Be kind to yourself and to each other. Hold fast, stay true. Let's go Kraken.